This video is slightly different because I'm not talking about professional wrestling, although I've just told you Facebook the details in another video. But what I want to talk about is a couple of bits. Now, obviously, everybody knows by now the Dalai Lama is taking a tour in June of the United Kingdom. Now, including in the UK tour is a visit to 3 of Scotland's cities. Now, the cities involved are Inverness, the capital of Scotland, which is of course Edinburgh, and he is coming to my home city of Dundee. Now, details or the dates of which city on which date has not been confirmed yet, but this will take place he'll be in Scotland between June the 21st and June the 24th. Now, he is of course scheduled for a couple of different events on this Scotland leg of his tour. In Inverness, he's going to give a public talk at the Eton Court Theatre. In Edinburgh, he will visit the National Library of Scotland, followed by a public talk at the Usher Hall, and also will be attending an informal lunch at the Scottish Parliament. Now, the bit I'm interested is, of course, he is in, like I said, the city of Dundee as well, and he will be greeted by pipe bands in city centre of Dundee, where he will give a lecture on religion at the Caird Hall as part of the week of graduation ceremonies from the University of Dundee. Now, obviously, the University of Dundee, as everybody knows in Scotland, of course, is a very famous university. To be honest, it's actually, I believe it's either University of Dundee or Aberdeen, but I believe it was actually University of Dundee, where the originators of the Grand Theft Auto series of video games were actually attending when they actually created that game, the Grand Theft Auto game. I remember seeing a bit on the STV News about it, which is like Scottish news, about some games kind of course thing they were doing, and it was one of the parts where they just showed them driving around in the city. Obviously, they didn't show you any violence or something. Obviously, it was lunchtime and tea time news it was covered on. But it's fantastic that obviously University of Dundee is able to host them. University actually normally has maybe sometimes about 2 weeks of graduation ceremonies, because obviously there's several campuses actually in the city of Dundee, and there's so many courses, especially nowadays with all these different subjects. Normally have maybe even up to about 2 weeks of graduation ceremonies, because my sister-in-law graduated as a nurse, some kind of nurse degree thing, and hers wasn't until the following week, and that was a few years ago. And it's certainly a great thing that Dalai Lama is going to come to Dundee and to talk about religion. Obviously, he is a spiritual leader to millions across the globe. The thing is, he is actually around about 77 years old, because he was born, I believe it's 1935 he was born, so he's around about 77 years old. Although he looks in good shape, obviously he keeps himself very basic mode of living. It is quite a coup to have this leader come to Scotland, come to the UK as a whole. Obviously, this was actually, interestingly enough, this comes 6 years after the original invitations were sent and accepted, so it's been quite a while coming, and it's certainly going to be great to watch. I probably won't get down to the city centre to see him in person, unfortunately, but certainly if you check out local people, if you're watching this, or anybody actually worldwide, DundeeChannel.com. Dundee Channel is a great website. It shows you a lot of things going on around the city of Dundee, and it's got a lot of fashion shows, and so some of the stuff doesn't pique my interest, but some of the stuff has been very good in the past, and it's a lot of some. There was actually really good programs and shorts and things about the city of Dundee, and I'm sure, and I've already tweeted them on Twitter at DundeeChannel.com, that surely this is an unmissable day for them to film So sure, it'll certainly be up on their website, and of course it will be on national news, worldwide news coverage, I'm sure, as well. Now, also, there was just to end this section. There was a short statement as well from, and I'm not probably never will pronounce this properly. Thupten Samdup. It's THUBTEN SAMDUP. He represents the Dalai Lama, and he actually issued a short statement. I'll just read it there. This visit will be an opportunity for people across the UK to hear the message of this globally recognised spiritual and moral authority. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has called for this to be a century of dialogue and peace, urging youth to be the change they wish to see in the world. In particular, his message will encourage youth across the UK to seriously consider their unique potential as decisive catalysts for peace, able to bring to reality the better world they hope to inhabit. That's just a short statement. This comes from the website of a Scottish newspaper called the Daily Record. It's one of the most popular newspapers in Scotland. It's certainly the most popular one for Scots abroad on holiday. You see Scots will look for a newspaper shop. It is very much, they're probably looking for a Daily Record. So it's sold in Spain and several other countries now. It's really genuine. Well, talking to the hotel receptionist that when I was in Spain in October, they certainly the woman said certainly the Daily Record's the one that stock the most, because they get a lot of Scottish guests there, and they stock that and they now sell out of it. So that's fantastic. That the Dalai Lama is certainly going to make you could like I said, he's about 77 years old, and you're still, like I said, still making great visits all across the world. But and certainly, I'm sure that you'll be given a great reception at the Scottish Parliament. I'm sure again there'll be lots of actual coverage of this in the newspapers and the TV and all the different medias and social medias and so forth. It should be very interesting, certainly, to hear his views. Of course, he lives in exile in India, but certainly I'm sure he'll be given a warm welcome in Scotland. It's great that someone of such importance, and I suppose he has always, at least to my knowledge, had a very positive message, as you can hear from the statement, about good morals and good behaviour and so forth. You've seen, I'm sure he will comment on the riots, because I saw, and then you've been interviewed recently in the news, and the stuff amazingly, he knew about the stuff like the riots, and the amount of stuff that he knew about what was going on in the UK was amazing. Obviously, the UK is kind of one of the most famous countries in the world, so obviously a lot of stuff is publicised around the world. But it was great to. It's going to be great to see and hear what he thinks of obviously all the different things going on nowadays. In a related thing, and I'm just keeping it to the one video, there has been a lot of talk in Scotland and related to the Scottish Parliament about this independence bill and this independence voting. Now, obviously, it's been revealed that it's not going to be held, the referendum, till 2014, which is obviously 2 years away. Now, a lot of people have been questioning about why it's so delayed. The reason why it is because it's so difficult legally, because the UK has been a single country operating a single level. The NHS, the armed forces certainly should be kept together, in my opinion. It's just because obviously this worldwide situation we're in with Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, all of the countries around the world still got Al Qaeda there. Obviously that should be kept together because it creates so many difficulties to have different commanders and different. It's like it's kind of like having one team going off one direction, one team going off another direction. It'd be extremely difficult to control them both. But it's certainly going to be up to the people to decide in 2 years. I know there's been a lot of talk already about different political parties and their views of whether people should vote yes and people vote no. And again, it's 2 years away. We're really just going to be getting into it. I'm for it, to be honest, in a way. Like I said, the armed forces should be still together. I'm nothing against. I've always thought of myself as Scottish first and foremost. And there's nothing against the Queen or the royal family. They're good. I mean, I have sympathy, a little bit of sympathy for the Queen. She has spent her whole. The Queen and the royal family are more figureheads, and the Queen hasn't really had an opportunity to do stuff like Prince William and Harry have done. Go and join the army and do this and that. She's had to spend her life going around saying, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" and really being this figurehead, which obviously she had to take after her father suddenly died. I believe it was on her honeymoon, actually. I believe that he passed away suddenly. It was she was selling it away on holiday anyway. It was just I think it's time that Scotland was one of the few countries that doesn't rule its own our own businesses and our own country really as a whole. I mean, we've seen Uganda. I believe it's Uganda that's split into north and south recently, and really they've managed to pass it in their judicial system, their legal system. And of course, there would never be a suggestion, obviously, when it comes to our judicial system, that obviously, if a guy burgles currency Newcastle, there's no way that obviously it's never going to happen that he drives up, crosses the border in Scotland, and the police can't do anything. The police can't actually arrest him. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Those kind of divides are not going to happen. There's a stupid amount. To be honest, I watched a Road Wars type program from America the other night. The guy crossed the state line. I believe it was Texas or Florida, somewhere like that, and he actually stopped the car and thought that the police couldn't actually arrest him because he'd crossed the state line because they were Florida and he went into Texas or something, which was quite a jump actually, but he thought they couldn't arrest him, but obviously they could. The United States and cops, and obviously this will be the same even after whatever level of independence that Scotland gains, and certainly obviously Scottish law, English law is already slightly different, different laws, but I'm sure that obviously laws like that there's not going to be any loopholes. The one thing that I'm glad of really in closing is I know a lot of people have seen the troubles in Ireland, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, and the IRA, the real IRA and all these paramilitary groups, and all the bombings we've had over the years. And I grew up in a lot of that, obviously here in Scotland, but I saw a lot on the news and so forth. And it's just thankful, obviously, that we are other people of Scotland past that. So there's certainly not going to be anything like that between Scotland and England. And if anybody tries anything like that, they will certainly be stomped on pretty quickly by the law enforcement. And they can't do, obviously, as in Scotland, as in anywhere, obviously we get some organised crime, but I'm sure that and I'm sure a couple of gangs would certainly not stand for something like that in their area, for rumours I've been hearing. But certainly it's really going to be good to actually, for Scottish people, start flexing muscles. Obviously we had the Scottish Parliament opening a few years ago now. Obviously we're coming up to several anniversaries of that process, and it's going to be certainly interesting in the next 2 years. Like I said, it's going to be about 2014, probably going to be autumn of 2014 until the referendum is actually taking place again. The reason of the delay is it's just so the legality of it, just the fine tuning, the fine picking. You have to do who controls what area. Like I said, the armed forces, the NHS, and the police. I mean, they're already doing various reforms to the police, the ambulance service. They're making the police all one force in Scotland at the moment. They're starting to undergo that transformation, and it certainly will be a long process legally, even if the Scottish people vote overwhelmingly 100% yes. It's going to be still quite a few years until anything is established. Like I said, because of so many laws and so many authorities, local authorities, and all these different laws that have to be addressed to avoid loopholes. Like I said, probably, obviously, obvious loopholes would be wouldn't happen with, like, say, the criminal system, just judicial system. Like, one guy going from England to Scotland, that would never happen. They said there would be loopholes like that. That lawyers would have to pour over all of the actual all the legal stuff. The difference to ensure that the laws are full. So it's going to be a long process. It's certainly it's going to be beneficial to Scots, I think, to run more of our own affairs. It kind of is good for England as well, because other than, to be honest, the one thing I don't like about the English is sometimes the arrogance of them in sporting events, football, and of course sometimes they think they should win because they're English. That annoys me when anybody does that, to be honest. But it's just really, to be honest, it's just a bit annoying. I know that's not all English are bad. It's got English guys like Nigel McGuinness, wrestlers, Doug Williams, and so forth, other wrestlers and that, different guys. Like, it's just something arrogant, but it really is just going to have to be such a long. It's still going to be a long process for the actual legal systems to, like I said, to go through everything. It is hundreds of laws, thousands of laws probably that are in Scotland and England. It's going to take quite a while to go through them. People are just going to be patient while they go through them and sort them out and sort out the responsibilities for each parliament. Like I said, it's going to take some pressure off the English Parliament, because they've got to worry currently about the whole UK, and it'll take some pressure off the Scottish Parliament as well, not having to work so much with the English Parliament. It's going to be beneficial for both of them, to be honest. But again, it's going to be up to the politician Alex Salmond, the First Minister of Scotland currently, with the SNP ruling with a small majority. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a long process on the road to any level, whatever level of independence we achieve. Again, it's got to be sat down, done political, not physical. It's certainly got to be. It's going to, it's still going to be a long process. It's not going to happen within the next 5 years or so. And there's still lots of different, even sporting things, like coming up to the 2012 Olympics, and there's been all the talk about Team GB as a football team, Team Great Britain. Several Scotland stars have said no already. Several are considering it. It's such a long history between Scottish and English, of course, and the Welsh, of course, is going to be involved as well. Not even mentioned them, but say they're involved in the UK Parliament, the English Parliament. It's just going to be such a long process. People just going to have to be patient. There's so much stuff that's going on. There's so much stuff. You look at a lawyer's office, and they've got books of row and row and row upon row of books, all about laws and so forth. Really, it's just going to be a long time till everything's going to be sorted. It's going to be a very long process, even if in 2014 we vote overwhelmingly yes or overwhelmingly no. It's still going to be a long process because the Scottish Parliament isn't going anywhere, of course. Even if we voted no, the Scottish Parliament will still be there. For anybody wondering, the Scottish Parliament will not be dissolved if people in Scotland vote no. It's part of the Scottish Parliament, especially after this many years, hundreds of years of being non-existent. It's certainly not going to be anywhere. It's just about the level of independence that, well, to be honest, that Scotland can achieve. Obviously, we're not shutting the door on England completely, but it's going to be a long process. Just a few thoughts thoughts about it. So again, it's great that Dalai Lama is going to be coming to Scotland. It's going to be such a long process for the independence. It's going to take years upon years. I can't see anything that happens here before, but probably about 2020 is going to be even nearly sorted. And again, that's even if we vote yes. So even if we vote no, it's going to be still a long process sorting out exactly details of stuff. So there's many years to come, and it all depends on who the governments are. SNP are in for their second term in Scotland. The Liberal Democrats and the Tories, Conservative Party, are in England. It's going to be difficult to just to see what is going to happen again with the different parliaments. But again, it's just something interesting to look forward to in the future of Scotland. So there are my few of my thoughts. I'll get to more wrestling stuff in a few days. I'm waiting on a couple of announcements from the SWE. I'm on Facebook now. I'll give more details of that another day. Waiting on the big announcements of SWE, which should be coming eventually in the next couple of weeks, whenever they're ready, of course. I'm friends with a couple of people, a couple of SWE wrestlers and Tatanka now, and this is fantastic. So wish him Tatanka well, whatever he does, and I'm going to be really interested to see who the SWE guests are. Certainly going to be looking forward to the announcement, and apparently they have confirmed our guest for Hell for Lycra 10, which will be taking place next year, 2013. We've already confirmed the guest there, and it'll be announced in August at the Hell for Lycra 9 event. And just really quickly, they've announced 100 VIP tickets will be on sale for the Hell for Lycra day, which is going to be interesting to see how they're going to work that, what the tickets are going to let you into. Supposedly on the Facebook page it says a VIP area where you can meet and greet the legends, Hall of Famers that are going to be in attendance. We already know Ted DiBiase is going to be in attendance. Another two guests, well, say guests like DiBiase is still the owner of SWE. It's really going to be a very interesting time this coming year in the UK. Like I said, we've still got the political scene. We've got Olympics, European Championships are taking place abroad, and it's really going to be very interesting this year. So that's a few of my thoughts on independence and the Dalai Lama visiting Scotland. Very much looking forward to that.